Imagine a world where the billionaire tech giants, the healthcare industry, the prison industry were all run by genuine, faith-driven Christian business owners who loved God with all of their heart, mind, body, and soul. Welcome to another episode of Journey to Mastery. I'm your host, LZ, and I want to talk about something that I think can be extremely touchy to talk about, and that's dominion. If you refuse to exercise dominion, the market will define it for you. I found that many faith-driven entrepreneurs I don't think it's false humility. I think the intention is to be humble, but they don't want to say the word dominion. The root word of that is dominate. And you'll see it. Many Christian entrepreneurs, and bless our heart, our goal is we're trying to be humble, but we refuse to say that we dominate our niche or we dominate our industry. And on some levels, I can understand that because you don't want to be prideful. You don't want to be braggadocious and come across as a person who has an unhealthy ego. But the flip side of that is this timidity, it's a word now, this timid approach to entrepreneurship and business that I don't think is healthy for faith-driven entrepreneurs. Now, again, I understand wanting to be humble, wanting to not come across as braggadocious and ego-driven. But at the same time, you are sent to dominate. God wants you to take dominion over whatever it is that he's called you to do. And in our case, it's the business arena. Imagine a world where the billionaire tech giants, the healthcare industry, the prison industry were all run by genuine, faith-driven Christian business owners who loved God with all of their heart, mind, body, and soul, and they loved their neighbor as they loved themselves. Like, imagine what that world will look like. Do you think that we would have the world that we have if these industries were dominated by Christian business owners? I am a hopeless optimist when it comes to this. I believe that when God's people who are truly God's people, I'll say that, things go better. Now, that doesn't mean that I think everybody should agree with the value system. That doesn't mean that just because we're Christian, we should be in charge. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is God calls us to take dominion in the earth. Okay. When he came to Adam, he said, all right, Adam, here's the garden. He did a couple of things. He gave Adam a job and he gave him dominion over everything. He gave him dominion. God has given you dominion. Okay. Now, again, the prayer is that God always keeps us humble and that we never forget who is behind the dominion, who gave you dominion in the first place, and that we love God with our heart, mind, body, and soul, and we love our neighbor as we love ourselves. If we do that, it is perfectly fine for you to dominate. Now, again, there's a fine line. One person that I think does this well is Steph Curry. Steph Curry is, in my opinion, the greatest shooter on the face of this planet, bar none. He can shoot. He is a dominant shooter. Now, he has publicly professed that he is a believer. I don't take Steph Curry as an arrogant, pompous person. He seems pretty humble to me from what I can tell, but he's dominant. Now, he doesn't dominate just because he says it out of his mouth that he dominates. He dominates because he puts in the work. And that's the thing that I found, that sometimes us as Christian business owners, faith-driven entrepreneurs, we don't want to do the work. We want to just say, using the power of God to say, well, God, allow me to dominate. Well, that's all fine and good, but generally speaking, God is going to want you to put in the work before he ever blesses you to dominate anything. So I think the number one thing that I would say is make sure that you are putting in the work to dominate and what God has given you dominion over. reminds me of the story of the talents. When the merchant goes away, he gives each of them a certain amount of talents and he comes back, and the expectation is that you have invested your talent, or in other words, you've put your talent to use, and now you have a return on the investment that was made in you. And a lot of times people are afraid of that because they know that one day God's going to ask you, what did you do with the talent that I gave you? And if you're a faith-driven entrepreneur, that's business. What did you do with the business that I gave you dominion over? Did you multiply it? Did you hide it so that you could preserve it until God came again? So that's the question that I have for you. What are you doing with the business that God gave you dominion over? And what can you do to, after listening, watching to this podcast, what can you do to take steps in the direction of domination, dominating your field, dominating your niche, dominating the thing that God has given you to dominate or to take dominion over? So I want to give you quickly this, the crown and flame framework that has helped me when I think about growing God's way in authority and dominion. Okay, so the crown stands for authority, dominion, and stewardship. The flame stands for passion, refinement, and conviction. Okay, so those 6 words sort of guide me on my journey to mastery, and hopefully they will help you on your journey to mastery as well. So what could this look like, right? Domination. That means owning your message, owning your position, owning your standards, owning your pricing, owning your decisions, not apologizing for your conviction, not bending into ambiguity, trying to please everybody. It means clarity around who you serve. It means clarity around what you solve. And it means clarity around what you stand for. So dominion also shows up in what you say no to. It shows up in what you tolerate. It shows up how fast you move in terms of making decisions. And it shows up in how you take ownership of your journey. When you lack dominion, you underprice your services, you over-deliver, you accept misaligned clients, and you pivot constantly. Now, I've been guilty of this. And sometimes it's not always a bad thing. But over the past 18 months or so, I've been really, pivot is not the right word. I've been really massaging my one offer, how I want to deliver it, but the who has not shifted, right? The Christian business owners, faith-driven entrepreneurs. The how has shifted as the market has shifted and as we have learned from the different things that we've put out there into the market. So here are 3 ways that you can exercise dominion as a faith-driven entrepreneur. Number 1, define your ground. You cannot take dominion over what you have not defined. One target audience, one message, one target audience, one offer. Okay. Number 2, raise your standard. I know it's tough sometimes to, when you get to the point where maybe you need the revenue, but you have to raise your standard. You cannot work with everybody. It's a headache in the long run. Trust me, save yourself some time. And number 3, protect your decisions. Dominion requires disciplined decision-making. Stop negotiating what God already told you to do. Dominion is responsibility from God. If God entrusted you with territory, it means that he wants you to steward it faithfully. If you don't define your authority, the market will define it for you. A couple of scriptures that I have that I think will bless you is Genesis 1:28, where God says, be fruitful and multiply, fill the earth and govern it, have dominion. Matthew 25:21, well done, good and faithful servant. Dominion is tied directly to stewardship. Here's the play. I want you to write down your domination declaration. All right. So I take dominion over blank by clearly owning blank. And then I want you to adjust one element of your positioning, whether that's your headline, your LinkedIn bio, your description, one element of your brand positioning. Again, dominion is not about being prideful. It's not about being arrogant. It's not about being louder. It's not about being braggadocious. It's really about accepting the call, accepting the responsibility of taking dominion over what God has sent you on assignment to accomplish. So if you know any faith-driven entrepreneurs that would benefit from this podcast, I pray that you would forward it to them. And if you haven't already joined the Journey feed, listen, I'm on an ambitious mission to get 50,000 entrepreneurs just like you on the Journey feed. So I need your help. We cannot do this without you. So send it to 3 to 5 people if you need to. But we want to get to 50,000, and I want to invite you into the Journey feed as well. So listen, I hope this blessed you, and we'll talk with you next time.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, can I get a oh yeah, can I get a